Good afternoon. We're closing out the second week of school here in Swain County. I think today is September the 2nd, and we have been exceptionally busy all across the school district. There have been so many athletic events and our buses are running. It's hard to believe that we're moving this quickly already and we're only about 2 weeks in. Yesterday, on September the 1st, the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction released some important statements, and they center around the fact that at the end of every school year, each school district, each school is held accountable with summative assessment. We know them as EOCs, EOGs, and they also are using the ACT at the high school to kind of track how we are progressing from one school year to the next, and also so that we can see how our students are stacking up kind of against other students that are like them. And the reason for that is when our students from Swain County graduate at the end of their 12th grade year from the high school, they're going to step into the whole world to be competitive. And we want to make sure that we have some type of a measurement system that will help us to know if they are going to be successfully competitive or if we need to help them in another way. Now, I want to tell you that the way that the state calculates all of these numbers is really quite complex, and I don't want to take your time to try and explain all of that. I want to explain two primary points of this. When the state looks at Swain County, all other counties across the state, they look at two primary thoughts. One is called proficiency, and what proficiency means is that you have gone above a particular score, whatever that score might be. Another piece that they look at, but not with as much weight or as much importance, is something called growth. And basically what they're wanting to know is if Mark, as a student, has grown 1 year's worth of knowledge and skill in different areas. And if Mark makes that 1 year growth number, then he is kind of given credit for having made growth that year. Now, this number and this growth number are all set by the state. We don't have anything to do with that. And then they take these two and they mix them together and they give the schools grades, just like we've gotten grades. They take the proficiency number and they count it as 80%, and they take the growth number and they count it as 20%. And when they put those two together, they get the grade for the school and ultimately for the school system as well. Now, I want to tell you that across the state, the numbers coming out of our schools that are affecting grades that you're going to see very soon, those numbers are lower than they have been before COVID. That's because COVID is still affecting what we're doing in the classroom. Now, I need you to think about something. About 2.5 years ago or so, our students went home and they finished out a whole school year remotely. They didn't have a teacher as close as I am to you by this camera right now. Then last year we came back and we were in the classroom, but we were still affected by quarantine and perhaps residual effects from having been remote for 6 months. Now, all of those elements have added up together to depress the scores. And what you will see this year coming from Swain County is something that we have never seen before. We're going to have 2 schools that are labeled as C, or perhaps we could call that average. And we're going to have 2 schools that are labeled as D, and that's going to be considered perhaps below average. I need you to understand something though. Last year, 9 schools in all of Western North Carolina were considered to be below average or low performing schools. They had D's on their report card. This year, over 40 have. That's the COVID effect. And while we take full responsibility for what we're doing, I need to say that our staff and our students are almost being underappreciated with this system. This document has said that too. Our state superintendent has said we need to be very, very careful how we look at these because the COVID effect in the schools was very real last year. And we shouldn't compare last year's scores to the scores that were probably 2018, 2017. We haven't fully recovered yet. Now, I want to add that the impact we have seen in Swain County and even in North Carolina, because the scores have been depressed everywhere, is a national phenomenon right now. I believe that there is conversation about this in national media. But in Swain County, we have a lot to be proud of. Let me share some things with you. For example, one of these schools that may be labeled low performing, a D, maybe below our average school, actually in all of the different subgroups, like for example, all of those students that don't speak English as their first language, or those who have disabilities and may have an individual education plan, or our Native Americans, all of those groups actually had at least 70% growth. Now what that means is 70% of the students in each of those groups grew at least 1 year or more. I want to say that again. At least 70% of all of those students grew at least 1 year or more. And I'm really not even telling you the whole story there, because that's only in one subgroup. The other 5 subgroups at that school grew over 80%. And yet, this system is rating that school as low performing. I'm sorry, but that is not low performing. The third grade reading class that outperformed the rest of the state as far as average is concerned, the state average, they scored higher than the state average. We have a third and fourth grade class set of students at West that outperformed the rest of the state. We have 7th grade math at the middle school that outperformed the rest of the state. We have a high school last year that increased their ACT proficiency above the state average. They also pushed their graduation rate the 4-year graduation rate above the state average. In fact, out of 17 different indicators at the high school, 10 passed the state average. Sure, there was a depression of scores last year, some. Sure, we're going to see some ratings that we've never seen before. But let me tell you what else we saw that we've never seen before. That's a level of work and effort and energy and passion out of our students and our staff that is unprecedented. I know a few years ago we used that word all the time. I need you to know that this does not reflect the effort and energy that our students and staff used last year. As a matter of fact, some of our teachers, experienced teachers, said they worked harder last year and were more tired at the end of last year than they've ever been before. And so today, you know, we have to be careful with all of this and everything that I've said, that we don't let these grades become a distraction, like some of you may have been distracted because I misspelled this word. We have a glitch in some areas, we'll fix them. But more importantly than that, we don't have a glitch in our schools. We don't have a glitch with our students. We don't have a glitch with our staff. They have worked exceptionally hard and we will continue to do so. But we're going to need you to help us. We have a hill to climb. We can make it if you'll climb along with us. Thank you for committing to doing that. Thank you for letting us be part of your family. I think that you know that we have passion for your sons and daughters, your grandchildren, for all of these students in Swain County. And I know that you share that passion with us. So thank you for being part of our family. Thank you for allowing us to be part of your family. God bless you and have a great afternoon.